Eternals is a superhero film about a group of ancient aliens who have been living on Earth for thousands of years to face off the deviants who are going after humankind, and as years progress, all of a sudden, the deviants came back. Before I get to this review, leave a follow more film content. This is the latest film from Chloe Zhao before getting ready for Hamnet, and this is actually considered to be an interesting one in terms of how divisive this movie is and how it actually was the first MCU film to receive negative reviews. I remember loving it when I first watched it, but it has been years since I've seen it with my mom. So after rewatching this movie, I can understand why people don't like this movie, but I still kinda love it. The acting is very solid where each and every single of these characters have their moment to shine, which I find all of these characters to be actually interesting and memorable in terms of what their characterization is that I did find interesting of how it was exploring. The movie is not trying to be as funny as every other MCU film, which is honestly a nice change of pace as I was taking this serious and was very interested in where the story was going. Considering the fact that this is one of the more complex stories from the MCU universe just because of these characters alone, what their motivation are, and of course, what their assignment is under. As they serve under a single god that is telling them to do these things that they are very much have their own beliefs in. So it dives into people's belief system from a religious perspective that was very interesting that in a way does feel either anti-religion or anti-god. Considering how intentionally contradictory it is in terms of the character's motivation and the god. The action scenes are a lot of fun, and when it does get funny, for the most part it does get very funny. The visual effects were actually pretty solid except for one scene at the mid-credits scene that I didn't think was all that good. Knowing the fact that this movie is over 2.5 hours long, it honestly should have been slightly longer if not maybe a mini-series. Because there are two story elements of this film that I do think are underdeveloped. One is the inclusion of this character named Crow, who I do think is an interesting design and his voice is actually pretty interesting, but as a character, there's not much to really dive into because he didn't really have a lot of screen time. And then there's Sprite's relationship with Icarus that just kinda came out of nowhere and wasn't really all that explored. I mean, there was one conversation that Sprite did have with Kingo about this situation, but that's it. Eternals is just a lot of fun and was very engaging from this movie that is very complex in terms of what's tackling, while also tackling a lot of characters that would have made this a failure for me, but what's really interesting of how it dives into all these characters in terms of the portrayal of humankind, the portrayal of religion in a way, and of course portrayal of just betrayal in the family perspective. I give this film a 9 out of 10. If you like this review, leave a like, favorite, and follow more film review content.